Greetings, gamer. Tim here again, and today we're supposed to talk about most memorable encounter. And you know, it's kind of interesting. I was playing a elven fighter who was basically a knight who came upon a bunch of kobolds camped, very upset about something. Well, I did my best to sneak up to the camp, which wasn't very good in the armor and accoutrements that I had, and discovered that they were arguing about the loss of their job. After basically getting close to them and talking a little bit, I spoke with the kobolds and found out that they had up until recently worked with vintners, and the vintners had basically fired them for basically little more than them being kobolds, among other things. So with his sense of honor riding on the line, I approached the town where the vintner lived and worked, and had to make a deal for the kobolds to return to work. And I remember that encounter to this day because it was probably one of the best encounters I ever had, in which a monster species was shown to not always be a monster. Now, most of the time, I like a monster being a monster. I like the ability to fight and kill the bad, evil thing. I mean, or just fight them, because I tend to prefer superhero games. But overall, I like the occasional juxtaposition of being able to sit down and talk with something that's the expectations of it being a combat encounter. A more recent version of this encounter occurred when a lone goblin snuck up on my camp in Pathfinder. I'm a summoner. My twin brother is a druid who focuses on dinosaurs. And when they arrived, we basically sat down and talked to him. He did most of the talking this time, but we basically explained to them that this particular lone kobold, that we would help him out because we could kill him, but we had no need to basically, be bullies, and among other things, just decided that we would work a deal with them. And we ended up with a whole pack of kobolds traveling with us. And that has been the state of this Pathfinder game since. We leave them behind in certain towns and certain places so they don't, draw too much attention and cause too many problems. But we have done quite a lot making use of their talents. And we're trying to build up a way to thwart invading Gith and their apparently Red Dragon allies. So the more people we have on our side, the better. And we found lots of little fun places to go and fun things to do. We had somebody who sent a hunter after the goblins, and they were all terrified it was this particular hunter for the Goblin King, and it wasn't, but that we were led to believe that. And he went down rather quickly when the barbarian went crazy on him and tore him to pieces with an axe. But those encounters are memorable because of the juxtaposition, because they interplay elements that are unexpected. If every monster encounter is sit down and talk with them, it might get boring. You might want to fight every now and then. At the same time, it is sometimes interesting to treat, other capable sapients as being able to make decisions that aren't just, well, we're evil, we're going to stick to evil. I have played good characters who were essentially not supposed to exist in the rules because of their race. I played a lawful good kobold cleric. I have played a trollbold, meaning a troll kobold mix. That was very fun. We weren't particularly evil, just a bit chaotic. But then again, we were playing the Orcs of Thar game where you get to play monsters. And my character was I think a Wicca, a wizard, monster wizard called a Wick or whatever, in that book. And I happened to be the child of a troll and a kobold. And I could regenerate, sort of, very, 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 very slowly, but was otherwise a kobold. So it was kind of an amusing game to play, along with all the big burly roar, half giants or giants or whatever that was in the party. Because I think the party was big. But, I'm rambling on. I'm trying to make this video substantial. But the most important thing, I think, is that not every encounter should go by the numbers. No matter what you want in a role-playing game, a interaction should have a chance to fail. It should have a chance to succeed beautifully, far beyond the player's expectations. And it shouldn't be set up to be like a boss monster fight. And I know some people do that, and even I have thought, okay, this is the big bad. I'm going to put him here. I'm going to see what happens. But unlike most people, if the players happen to get really, really, really good at facing that enemy at that time, and it's their first encounter or it's their fifth encounter, whether I want that villain to live or not, if they win, I let them win. That doesn't mean I make it easy. Believe me, I'm not going to make it easy on anybody, because we're playing a game for the challenges, for the excitement, the feel. And I sometimes have had trouble with players who don't really want it to be challenging. They want just to go up, kill the monster, and have it done, and I don't much care for that. I want the interactions to take some level of commitment and resources and basically willingness to commit to a situation, and sometimes succeed and sometimes fail, and see where it goes. Because, I'm not going to outright kill a player character if I can have a reasonable expectation that the villain will take them hostage, or once unconscious, heal them up a little bit and keep them as prisoners, or whatever. I mean, there are some villains that doesn't work for, certain undead, etc. But the thing about creating an interesting campaign, the thing about creating an interesting game, boils down to putting together all these interactions, all these what they call encounters in D&D, that are more than the sum of its parts, that allow you to play out and take different directions with them, so they're not always A and B and C equals D, or 1 + 2 = 3. You want it to be where occasionally 1 + 2 = 7, and things turn very odd. Because, that's half the fun of the game, is seeing where things go. Not just having a plan for it and making sure it works just like a book or a novel. Sometimes, and believe me, I like it working like a book or a novel, a fiction. But at the same time, I like the opportunity to follow the players and see what they do and where they go. And sometimes they don't make the choices I would. Sometimes they don't make the choices I expect of them, and that is wonderful. So, yeah, my favorite encounter was the Knight and the Kobolds, because it wasn't an unexpected encounter. Because I actually had to use his personality, his experience, and his authority as an actual knight to influence a community to accept the kobolds back into their jobs. I think in the end, I found a particular vintner who hadn't used them and got them a better deal out of it, but I don't remember the entirety of it. I know that I used my authority to interact with the community and make a change for the better for these kobolds, and that made an interesting encounter. So, maybe you should apply some of this to your games if you don't. Look for the unexpected, welcome it, follow it where it leads. Anyway, peace and good gaming.